Hey, Android Gadgets family. Today we're going to be taking a look forward at the new industry changes for the iPhone X. So today we have the new JK Incell LCD panel, which we will be comparing to a generic Incell panel on the market. And for those of you who do not know, JK right now offers the best soft OLED for the iPhone X series. And they're soon going to be launching their new Incell line. So on the right is the new JK Incell LCD panel for the iPhone X. And on the left is our generic Incell panel. All right, so let's go ahead and get into things here. I'm just going to go into the color swatches, and mind you, these are the exact same colors. I just airdropped them from one phone to the other. And on the right, you'll notice immediately that the Incell is much more bright, it's much more vivid, and that on the old Incell, that the colors are quite a bit more warm, almost reddish pinkish looking. So it's a huge difference just by that. And as you can see, the brightness is up on both of these all the way up. So we're comparing one by one. And like I said, these are actually the exact same colors on both devices. As you all know, the iPhone X typically, well, originally uses an OLED panel. And since we're using an LCD here, they do have to add a backlight panel to it. And so obviously with that, we have a backlight circuit as well. Now, because of that, you're going to see this huge discrepancy. You see, as I drop the backlight, the brightness down, it almost turns off. Whereas with a JK, it's a more gradual dimming of the device, and you can still see it. So that's a huge difference between the old Incells, which almost dimmed out the entire screen, and the new JK Incell panels, which have the nice gradual increase to a proper white, vivid brightness. All right, so let's go to our next test and just kind of compare the colors. Obviously, white you can see here on the JK on the right, it's much more white, it's much more vivid. And on the typical generic Incel, it's a little bit warmish tone, it's got a little pink to it. Now the blacks, now you're going to see a huge, huge difference here. The black on the Incel JK is almost like an OLED. It's kind of hard to see unless you're looking at it in person, but it's almost a true black. Unlike a traditional LCD, I guess you could almost compare it to like an FX5 at certain angles. The gray, once again, it's more of a true gray, whereas on a generic Incel, it's still got that warmish pinkish tone to it. It still doesn't look quite right, but the JK maintains that proper gray color. And even on the edges, you're going to see complete uniformity from left to right, up, down, top, bottom, whereas some devices or some panels, they'll have different colors. All right. Now our green crisp, a nice bright green, and the typical generic incels kind of wash out the green. They just it's that's not the green we downloaded. Well, I mean it is the green we downloaded, but it doesn't look like the green that you would see on an OLED panel. Um, and same with the red. Now the red's not that much of a difference because, like I said, since the generic panels have that warmer tone to them, the reds still look pretty good. Um, but as you can see, the JK looks equally as good, if not better, without it even having to have that warmer tone to it. It just still looks deeper and richer of a color. So those are just some color differences on the RGB. Well, I guess we didn't use the blue, but red, green, black, and white, of course. Now, one thing you guys will remember from our JK versus GX soft OLED video is that the polarizer on the JK was the first iPhone X aftermarket polarizer that had full 360. And you'll see that once again on the LCD version. Now, if you look on your left, and as I rotate this, you'll see it kind of goes dark at certain points, like right there. Whereas the JK, look at it, it completely stays the exact same color. It has no color variance. The polarizer is a true 360-degree polarizer, and that's just another thing JK has really brought to the market and improved. And I mean, they're a phenomenal factory to work with, and they really are just completely changing the way the iPhone X look, feel, act. Um, they are the best aftermarket factory for the iPhone X right now. And to see this on their LCD compared to all the others right now is it's a huge difference. Now, also on the bottom right here, you'll see it has less of a gap. The great thing is JK is actually improving the border sizes now as well. It's only about zero point 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters smaller than the typical Incel, it's still smaller. So you have more screen, less border, and that's another great improvement JK has done on these Incell panels. Another thing JK really improved is the frame adhesive. Now, whether you use the HO3, the FX5, the MX, or the LX LCDs, whatever it was, um, you would sometimes see frame issues on these LCDs. They would come loose after a few months or a few weeks, whatever it may be, especially in heat. So in the summer months, they started unadhering from each other. JK has really improved that, and they wouldn't tell us what type of adhesive they're using, but it's definitely much better. I mean, in our testing, we could not really remove the frame no matter how much we tried and how much we pried. Now, the cool thing is the heat down here. I mean, as you guys know, the heat coming off of the old Incells, the old LCDs was so hot at the bottom portion of the panel. And the JK is nowhere near as hot. I would say it's probably half as hot. Obviously, I can't quantify that without a thermometer, but it feels much less hot. And that's a huge improvement of JK. The reason for that is that this uses chip-on flex technology, and the JK Incell actually uses chip-on glass technology. All right, with that being said, let's put these to the side and check out the LCDs. So on the left, of course, is our generic Incell panel, and on the right is our JK panel. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that the chip-on flex has a lot more surface area than the JK Incell. And of course, that's just going to help out with thermal surface management, that there's less area here. So it's not going to be taking as much heat. Now, where that really starts to add up is on the actual flex cables itself. All right. So having the chip on the glass gives you less area to really damage the LCD. It's gonna, you'll see right here, just the flex. I mean, there's so much that you can break. I mean, just one small touch against one of those, that flex, and damaging it, it's going to completely destroy the LCD. Whereas right here, having the chip on the glass is going to prevent you from a lot of insulation damage, and it's going to just keep this panel a lot more rigid. It's going to keep it a lot more durable than the chip on flex on your left. With the JK, you're going to see the little chip on glass. It's part of the actual structure, just like the original OLED. So you're going to be good to go just in terms of installation. It's going to be a lot more durable, a lot more rigid. All right, and the last little piece of improvement that JK has done right here is this is the glass that they're actually using. And as you can see on the IR filters here and the holes, the proximity sensor hole, all that stuff, they're actually using an actual plating on these compared to your traditional LCD and cell panel, or even a lot of these hard OLED panels. They're using just like a sticker on there. And so JK is telling us that these are going to be much more true to the original. They're going to function closer to the original. Now, we haven't really had a tremendous amount or really any complaints from people saying, hey, you know what, these are causing issues, but it's good to know that the technology is still advancing on these glasses, that JK is kind of pushing that forward. So there you have it. We're proud to say that we are the first ones to get our hands on this, and we should be launching the JK Incell panels next week. Check them out at injuredgadgets.com.
Get all your repair parts and tools at injuredgadgets.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Till next time, Injured Gadgets.